I'm Dale Cowan, Agronomy Strategy Manager and Senior Agronomist for the AGRIS Co-operative. I'm here today with our 2023 Summer Intern, Anderson Fenton, who's been running some of the projects for AGRIS this summer. And Anderson, welcome. I just give you an opportunity to expand on your own introduction and a little bit about yourself and the family farm and where you're going to school and what courses you've taken, and hey, when are you going back?
Yeah, so grew up on the family farm outside of Highgate. I've been there for 7 years. I now go to school in Huntington, Indiana. I'm taking agri-business there. I've enjoyed my summer with AGRIS, doing the corn rootworm trapping as well as the Adapt-N program. It's actually a Bachelor of Science, so I get to have crop science classes as well as ag business classes, lots of business classes. We get to be out in the field learning as well as in classrooms, so that's kind of nice having a little bit of both. I would say crop science class is my favorite kind of learning the agronomy basics and everything for sure, and I try to bring some of that knowledge back to the farm as well.
Yeah, good. And so you're heading into your fourth and final year now?
Fourth year, yep, and I graduate next spring. So.
Oh, excellent. So I understand you had two projects. The main one was actually using Yara's Adapt-N nitrogen management program. So maybe share with us just how did we go about setting that up, and what are some of the components and principal components that go into making that program actually be of value to a farmer?
Yeah, so we started off sitting down with the farmers, gathering a lot of information from them, everything from recent soil test, yield data, planting population, planting date, that's all inserted, maturity as well on the corn. And it was really interesting to kind of see the nitrogen levels in the soil throughout the year as well as uptake. The cool thing about Adapt-N is it's able to track the heat units and the weather as well, so that's not something that we have to do. It does it for itself. I really liked the graphs that came with it too, and all the information it gave us for mineralization, denitrification, leaching, everything like that. It was really interesting to see the differences in different soil types as well. Everybody's farm is a little different. That's one advantage of Adapt-N, is helping the farmers kind of know their field better.
Great points, Anderson. So on the Adapt-N, we also start with a field boundary, which kind of geolocates the field and picks up about 35 years of weather history on that geographic location, which is also very pertinent to tracking just the weather influences on the nitrogen program. Also, we input the farmer's dates of application and nitrogen rates that he actually uses, correct? As well as the program actually does make a nitrogen recommendation and tracks it all year long. So do you have any instances where the program recommended additional nitrogen either from weather or more yield potential due to the weather or the heat unit accumulations? Do you have any experiences there with customers?
Yeah, we did find some fields that said that there was sufficient amount of N at the beginning, and then later on was actually calling for some more N, which was a good thing to see for the grower and for us. Nitrogen management is a big issue. Whether that's different applications, timing, everything like that is important.
Yeah, driven by either denitrification or leaching losses would increase that as well. In some fields where there was perhaps an over-application beginning, turned out based on the weather and the growth stages that really wasn't an excess. It was kind of a happy circumstance at the end that it kind of worked out, right?
Right.
So some of these things were
and with the 4R stewardship and everything too, this is a good program to kind of track that, making sure we're not using too much, making sure that there's enough there for the corn plant throughout the entire growing season.
Excellent. Yeah, certainly. It is a very complex subject to manage nitrogen effectively. So this program does give us some real-time feedback almost every day, because the model does run every day, right? So we can set thresholds to warn us of when different applications are warranted based on whether it breaches a threshold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this is another good chance too that maybe some growers are thinking about making some changes or want to make some changes, and after seeing this Adapt-N program, maybe that pushes them a little bit more to make those good changes.
Yeah, so moving from all pre-plant up front to maybe doing a split application, you can kind of see how an application affects the remaining nitrogen that's needed, and then you look at your time application and it keeps making adjustments in real time.
For sure. Yep. And I think we had a good mix too of guys that had different nitrogen management programs. Like you said, some guys putting it up front, some guys doing up to 3 and 4 different applications as well. That was
and different soil type. We had some clay, we had some sand, we had some loam.
I'd say we had all of the major soil types in this area.
And I recall some fields with multiple soil textures where one soil texture is leaching, the other is split, half leaching, half denitrification, and the other soil texture was all denitrification. So just adds to the complexity in these fields with mixed soil types as to how you manage nitrogen.
For sure, yeah. I think the soil samples we did, pre-side dress nitrate samples as well as the soil tissue samples, kind of helped us verify possibly which parts of the field need more, which parts of the field don't need as much N. So that was good to verify the results that the Adapt N program was saying.
So one of the things that we decided to do that really wasn't part of the Adapt N was to go in and just prior to pollen shed and collect the ear leaf sample to check on the nitrogen status of the plant. So what was your experience? A, collecting the samples, and B, we've got the results back now, so what's the process now for going back to the customer?
So now that we have the results, we can go back to the customer, go over it with them, see if there's any deficiencies in any areas, see what their nitrogen level is in that corn plant. With all the good looking corn we have in this area, I would say that the number was a little bit lower than we expected, but I think with heavy rainfalls that was the cause of that.
To be expected. Okay. So the other part of your project, actually another project, was doing some corn rootworm trapping, and maybe just explain just how many traps you have out and the extent of it, and what you're seeing in some of the traps.
Yeah, so we, all 10 branches, we had 2 cornfield sites, preferably corn on corn. We want to be able to take a look at these corn rootworm bugs and be able to track them throughout the growing season. We have them all the way from Windsor-Essex area up to our furthest one is Brigden. That's gone well, and we have seen some numbers in the Chatham-Kent area, not much in Windsor-Essex, but for the cornfields that have been heavy corn on corn, I think we've seen some pretty high numbers.
Yeah. So we're really dealing with this development of resistance to current traits, and so there's a new technology coming, RNAi, that Bayer has introduced. It's a new trait that increases the control of corn rootworm. And so we want to be able to protect that trait and position it where it's actually needed the most. And so this trapping is showing us where the problem areas really are and helps us concentrate on the marketing of that new trait, new technology.
For sure. Yep. And I've been able to work with the crop sales specialists as well as the customer service managers at each branch to be able to trap them, put them into the database, and get a close-up look at it.
Yeah, very good. Anderson, it's been a pleasure working with you this summer. Wish you all the best at school, and I'm sure we'll see you again. You've just watched the video interview of our 2023 summer intern, Anderson Fenton. All of our interns are assigned a project for the summer when they're with us, and projects are often align with our digital ag strategy, where we're either looking at technology or products or concept and services or any combination of those. And so often we're really trying to connect with our customers' own data as well as our own, merge it, looking for insights beyond the obvious to help our farmers with their management decisions on farm and help us to create better business practices. So if you're inclined to join us as a summer intern, if you're a third-year university student at an ag college taking an ag course, by all means, submit your resume to the address that follows. Thank you for listening.